My name is Brett Butler. I'm the general manager of the Starkist Samoa facility here in American Samoa. I've been general manager 7 years and been with Starkist 17 years. Starkist is the largest private employer here on island. We right now employ just under 2,000 employees. We've been here almost 50 years, so we've been a mainstay of the economy, of the environment here, and it's just become a company a lot of American Samoans is well aware of and can relate to. We've seen families come through here, work from generation to generation. We've provided a lot of skill sets in different positions here that get employed at Starkist Samoa. So it's offered a lot of opportunities for people in employment here. We process close to 120,000 tons of fish locally here, which equates to approximately 13 million cases a year. We are very big in canned tuna. We sell tunas of different can sizes, and we also do pouch tuna here, which has been relatively new since 2005 in American Samoa. So we've opened up new avenues to process and sell tuna to the U.S. market. We have byproducts that come up as a waste stream from tuna, your fish meal, fish oil. We take that waste and we turn it into a product, and we've been selling to companies generally down in Australia, Southeast Asia. We had a lot of employees who were personally affected as a result of tsunami. We were at, when the tsunami hit September 29th, we had evacuated the plant that day and came back to a lot of issues on island at the point in time. We were down for about 30 days. We were able to provide generators that were imported in to keep the plant running, because at that point the utility company wasn't in operation. So we acted quite fast in getting ourselves back up and running. I mean, considering the devastation of the tsunami around the island. So we were able to get employees back up employed 30 days after the tsunami hits. So I think that was an amazing feat to do that in itself. But it took our Pittsburgh office, American Samoa, and as help for the government at the time to get this all ready in preparation to get employment back on island. So I want to thank everyone there too. And that was the drive, to get people back employed, because there was a lot of sad stories going on as a result of the tsunami, and we wanted to get employment back into the island. So that was our drive to get that. So, and we did it. National emergency grants provided an avenue for a private employer like Starkist to get employment easily, and to also have that employment go through a training period that's subsidized by the government for a 3-month period before we move on to having the employer take the full responsibility. I think that's great. I think providing training to employees is always good here. I think there is a lot of opportunity to continue that, particularly in particular skill sets. But I think from a positive note that we've seen with the NEG, to have that available and for us to participate in has helped a private employer like us here. We hope we would have known sooner, but the fact that it is out there and that we're taking advantage of it right now, I think is a good thing. Once a need gets developed by the employer, we would go out there and talk to the NEG office. And they would basically look at what we're looking for in terms of skill set. They would apply the available employment they have on their employees list that's available. They would assign those employees to us. We would bring them in, have them go through our orientation, our application form, and then basically at that point hire them to work. There's been a lot of success. We've got just under 200 employees now working as part of the NEG program. We've got some testimonies that we've had in our plant meetings. An employee would get up saying, "Listen, I'm part of the NEG. Does that mean when my 3 months is done, do I go back?" No, you're part of our family. You're part of the Starkist family. So there's a lot of people that have seen this as an opportunity to understand what we do here in American Samoa. In fact, we've had a government employee from the Human Resource Office who we toured around a couple of months ago, who came in, did not know the type of activity that we do, and was just blown away with the sheer volume, the types of jobs that we offer here. So having NEG create somewhat of an employment agency sort of a operation in the government, it's a good thing here. But we do, I mean, as a recommendation to the program, there are skill sets that we are always looking for, that we'd like to get training here on island and produce here. For instance, your electricians, your mechanics, those are skill sets that we're always looking for that you don't find readily available here that we can use. I think it's not knowing when it was available. It was basically how it was discovered to me was word of mouth. And I think there's definitely a lot of room with the American Samoa government, Starkist, and any private employer to see what is available out there that can support the private employee. I think knowing that first, and then gearing the strategy behind what makes it work for both them and the private employer is a definite gain. I don't think we see enough of that. I think that could help, definitely. Fishing is very lucrative in American Samoa. Not only just from the canning perspective that I see that we currently employ now, but there's opportunities out there with the vessels, getting more boats to come into American Samoa, providing shipyard opportunities to repair the boats, to turn them around, to continue to support the plants. I think once we develop a strategy, an island-wide strategy, and supported by the government to support the infrastructure, to get the vessels in, to provide the fish, to drive the canneries, and just support services for the vessels, we're not quite there yet. I think there's a lot of opportunity out there we can do to support that industry. You know, at the same time, tourism is another part of the industry that's out there that hasn't been really perfected, or a lot of, definitely see a lot of cruise ships come in, which is great for the island. But I think there's some opportunities in tourism too. But you know, from the fishing perspective, fishing industry perspective, I think there's still a lot more we can do to drive that economy here. You'll need the government. You'll definitely need the government. I think you'll need a strategy, to develop a strategy in place between the government, the federal agencies like the Coast Guard, private employers in the industry, the fishermen themselves. I think you need that input, but you didn't need a driver of that. And I would think that the incentive would be more with the government to do that, to thrive the economy, to get that going. So yeah, you can't do without them. No. We have quarterly meetings with the employees, and it just seemed like you label NAG worker out here, and what I've noticed is that they kind of tend to think, well, they're separate from the group. They're not. I mean, they were brought in through a different program, but they're like any employee we hire non-NEG with, and it's just getting that mindset in there, because you know, one thing does stick out is an employee who just raised her hand, stood up in the meeting, and says, "Will I continue to work at Starkist?" And when the NAG program's done, I said, "Yes, you're an employee." But they were thankful of it. You know, they were thankful given the opportunity that NAG provided, this avenue to get into, to see what goes on at Starkist Samoa. That's always good. That's always good to hear. So you know, we want to support that as much as we can. With employment in American Samoa, we used to go to the government and help get non-American Samoans from neighboring country Samoa to come in and fill the labor gap that we saw. I think NAG has provided that gap right now, because it's knowing what's available, number one, in terms of labor force, identifying a skill set, and trying to work with the employers to fill that need. I think that's the first attempt of any right now that the NAGs help the government provide for the private employers, which is a good step to eventually getting ourselves to an employment agency, or a professional employment agency who knows what's out there and what's available. So I think it's definitely a good first step. Well, at the end of the day, it's just higher costs that we've got to look at, and it's the competitiveness in American Samoa having a cannery here as opposed to having it anywhere else, or buying tuna anywhere else in the world. American Samoa does have its disadvantages. American Samoa does have its advantages. Minimum wage is one of the disadvantages that we see here in American Samoa. Utility costs is another advantage that we see here in American Samoa. But being in a lucrative fishing ground, that's one of the advantages that we see. And the duty, because we're a U.S. territory, producing in a U.S. territory, our duty-free access into the U.S. market is what protects American Samoa, makes American Samoa competitive out there in the U.S. market. I mean, you could always be ideal, but the ideal location would be being closer to the market where the fish is also thriving, right? You sell to the U.S., if the fish is thriving close to the U.S., that's your ideal location to get it to that market, but it doesn't work that way. So it's a game of balancing all the factors out and see where we think the best options are. But it's not, I can't say it's a great future out there because we don't know. Things are always moving in our business. The economy is changing. We do have a parent company, Dongwang, who's very committed to making American Samoa successful. So with the company was bought Starkist in 2008, and we've been seeing things that we're trying our best to make American Samoa to continue to thrive in the tuna industry here in the manufacturing industry and to support the U.S. market. So I'm happy to say that the Dongwang is very supportive of that, and we will do what we can from a business perspective to remain competitive. I'm from here, and my job is to be here. So that's my goal.